Hi there. Hi there, and welcome to my production dashboard guide. This is the only production dashboard guide you are going to need. I did all the hard work, and I'm about to explain all the steps that I took to do that, so you can trust these numbers are going to work for you. And I've been using these numbers since about September of last year, and right now it's almost February of 2026. And it's been working really good for me. I will say it does take about 2 weeks for everything to kind of fall into place. But then once it does, this is what it's going to look like for you. So here's my dashboard, right? I've got plenty of stuff. Look, everything. I've got numbers of everything. I can very easily send off all my tree of wishes. If that's something you have issues with, you don't have enough items for your tree of wishes, maybe you don't have enough items for your jelly bears, or you're just struggling, you're like, oh, you're always, running out of certain things because you need it to make other stuff, right? Well, I'll explain. I took the time to figure out, well, how are we going to get that to work, right? So let's pull it open. I'm just going to do produce all. Boop. I've got a few things obviously still being made. These ones take a bit long time, but this stuff will probably all be done by tomorrow, roughly. And then all my stock is back up where it needs to be. All right. So where do we want to start? First, let's talk about materials. Oh, no, wait. No, actually, back up. We're going to start from the very beginning. There might be some of you people out there who haven't unlocked your production dashboard, and that's a very important step that you want to make sure that you're doing. If you're new to Cookie Run, or maybe you just haven't really figured out, what exactly you should be focusing on, this will really help. So you see this little bar over here, this one a little bit here. You're going to have these little quests. Yeah, I haven't done. I'm about to start that. You have these little quests, and you'll probably have a lot of these unless you've gone through most of them like I have. And at some point you're going to do a little quest, and you're going to lock stuff around your map, and you're going to lock this little gnome area right here. Here, let me zoom out so you can kind of see where it is in relation to everything else. You've got your castle, and this is your little gnome laboratory, right? So you're going to lock the gnome laboratory, and you're going to set your gnomes to, do research. And this is going to improve things around your map and everything. So you're going to unlock a couple of these until you get to over here, this big section, right? It's really easy to accidentally pass over. It's under the sugar quarry. It's down here at the bottom, production dashboard. You're going to unlock that. That's what you want to unlock. And then that's going to pop up over here in the corner. You might already have a dashboard and it's got your cookies. You can choose what cookies are on your map. But this is your production dashboard, and you're going to be able to do everything. Oh yes, one other thing you want to make sure you unlock is, I think you have to unlock it, is the Easy Goods collection. Yeah, it's the only one there. You have to unlock that. All right. Okay, so once you have all that unlocked, right, all your little houses and everything that produces stuff, you can just very easily see it on this board. Now, if you go down to here to produce all, you're going to be able to choose some settings about what you'd like to produce. I used to just do recently produce first all the time, and I'd either have it on select first or I'd have it on all. But yeah, after I came up with my system, you want to have it on production priority. And then you really don't want it on all. It's better to just take the time and uncheck the couple things that you don't need, because it's going to waste resources. So we're going to do selected first, all right? Down here, I have lowest quantity and storage first. That's how I have it set up. You might want to start with shortest production first. And if you look, you can just grab it and you can move it. Hold on. There we go. You can move it up, right? And you can change this from shortest to longest, but I would start with shortest, and I would do that for a little while and then maybe switch this up the next day and do it for a couple days. And like I said, it's going to take a week or two for everything in your inventory to kind of start filling up. But once it's filled, it's, it's filled and you're good to go, and it's great. And so when you go to produce, so anytime you just need anything, you're just going to hit produce all, and it's going to produce everything. This little thing's, that little message is going to pop up. You'll just get used to it. All right. So now before we get into the limits, I will have the limits up at the end, and then you can screenshot them and plug them in. So if you don't even want to care about listening to anything, you can jump to the end and you can do that. But we'll talk through everything here first real quick. Maybe I'll leave a little note in the beginning, so anyone who wants them, they can jump to them. All right, so your materials, right? So these are your materials. Everything has a base materials. All the other items are made out of these top materials. I will say some of the hardest ones to keep an inventory of is the milk, the sugar, especially if you're making, like things at the smithy right here. These are going to be separate from your other items. I'll explain those in a minute. You're going to be a little bit low on sugar, a little bit low on flour sometimes, a little bit low on milk. You're always going to have the berries. You're always going to have too many jelly beans. So if we go to, real quick, let's go to produce all. See this blue button down here, quality limits, right? So this is my quality limits for my materials. This is what works really good for me. I have purchased quite a bit of space in my material room. So if you need to adjust them a little bit lower until you get more space, that's okay. That's also why I had to lower the jelly beans. I had so many jelly beans. Sorry. I had so many jelly beans, and I ended up selling them just so I could have more space for my sugar and everything. But this works quite well. 6,000 of the log rolls. Oops, don't mean to keep tapping on that. 4,000 of the jelly beans, 6,000 of the sugar, 6,000 of the flour, 2,000 of these berries, 2,000 of the milk, and 2,000 of the fluffy, cotton candy, of the cotton candy. So set those to that. Now, let me explain why do I have all of these just checked on the bottom? And I will explain why. I noticed that when I was setting it to the larger ones, I was like I could not make materials for the life of me. Like I couldn't get my materials to build up. So now if you look at these logs. Here, let's go to our Lumberjack Lodge. Here we go. Yeah, so look, it takes 19 seconds. Oh, that might be less now than what my papers say because I've improved, my stuff. So it's 19 seconds to make 3 logs. But look down here, 1 hour and 45 minutes to make 35 logs. Now we're going to go to my notes right here. And look, this is actually at the time, it was 24 seconds with 3 wood, and it was 2 hours and 2 minutes for the 35, right? So 2 hours and 2 hours and 12 minutes equals 8,520 seconds when you break it down. For 8,000 seconds, you only make 35 wood. But, right, you've got your wood building up with the small amounts. Let's say you're playing for 2 hours. I would definitely play for 2 hours a day. If I'm just sitting there, coming back and refreshing my stuff every 10 to 20 minutes, and let's say it's building the whole time, I will make 1,000 wood. I will make 1,000 wood in the same amount of time that I would make 35 wood. All right. So, if you want to set it so that way you can choose it to have it lower, or you can choose to have it at nighttime. But for me, I just don't find it's worth it because I'll forget. I always do the lower size rolls. It just works out. But I will say, with these ones, right, with the bundles, with these ones, I did calculate the time, and the bundles and the small amounts are actually about the same. I did a few of them. A few of them were a few minutes off. Some were a little bit more, some were a little bit less, but it was really like minuscule in comparison. We're talking like a few minutes out of a few hours. So I just keep the bundles on. And you do have to go in and physically deselect these. Even if you have this bundle part checked, you have to go deselect those because it will just always choose the single one. I don't know why, but I'd much rather just have the larger bundles just to fill it up. It's much easier. Now let's talk about amounts, right? So let's go to our Jamboree real quick. So we see right here what everything is made out of, right? It tells us what everything is made out of. So like we need 3 cotton candies and this little, what's this? A golden croissant, right? To make your sparkleberry jam. Well, I went through and I calculated how many of we need of each for every single thing, right? How much do you need for every single one? And I wrote them down. Oh, I wrote it down. There's my little handwritten notes. I'll show you my computer notes in a second. But I wrote down everything. I wrote down, and so this first tier, right? This first tier only needs sorry, I keep flinging that around, my bad. It only needs materials. Let me start over. This top row, this top tier right here, only needs the materials. The second row uses the things from that next row, and then below that uses the stuff from that row, and so on and so forth. And so there's my handwritten notes. And here we go. Here is my first draft. Now, in my first draft, I wanted to have 10 of the final items. But ultimately that ended up being too much. I plugged all these numbers in it and it didn't work. So I reduced it down. So the final number is actually going to be 4. Now let's go. And if you look right here, I reduced all the numbers because I was like, well, maybe I'll do it a little bit. And I was like, I'm going to try the lowest one first. I tried that lowest one and it just worked very good. And so there's all the numbers. This is the order of what is used for what. So if you look, do I have one with the notes? Oh, this is the amount of materials used. Not super relevant, but if you look, yeah, it's funny. It does say you use quite a bit of jelly beans, but I'm always stocked up on jelly beans. I don't know why. Anyways. Oh, here we go. Here's the one we want to look for. Here we go. So this is the amount of goods used for the items before it. No, I think we want this one. Okay, this is the one. This is the one you want. So you're going to want to use the bottom numbers. If this is just a little bit more easier format, you can take a screenshot right now, but I will pull it up in the game and I'll let you take screenshots there and we can talk about it and plug it all in manually. Now, if you look, oh wait, we want to go to this one. If you look here, the pizza is the only one. We want this one. If you look here, the pizza is the only one that uses 4 of those red flowers. So if you're going to use like a ticket or if you're going to skip over a wish, skip over the pizza. But otherwise, everything else uses kind of pretty much just 1 or maybe 2 or 3. In the parentheses is the bundle amount, but I did have to change that number to make the math work properly. All right. So yeah. All right, so and then how I figured out my numbers was I pretty much was like, okay, I need enough to make the materials above it, right? So we want that amount plus like double, so you can have like a stash. So all the numbers get pretty much doubled as they go down, plus like a little bit. And yeah, I don't know, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to do all that math. It looks like so much jumbled looking at it right now. But we're going to head back. We're going to head back to the game. Yeah, and that's how it all works. It all works good. And you can, yeah, like I said, you can look at it. You can look at the math. I did a pretty good job with that. Now, like I said, I always have materials for everything. In fact, I have not sent my ships off yet, so we're going to do the ships. And then I can also give you guys just a few other tips that you might want in the game, because as I was playing today, I was like, maybe I'll share this, maybe I'll share that. So we're going back to our dashboard because this is related right here. So the smithy, right? You're going to send some stuff off for the smithy. You're going to need it for building stuff. But if you go to produce all, you go to your quality limits. I have everything set in the smithy set to 2,000. The reason why that is because, yeah, I mean, if you have 2,000, you really don't need more. Go do something with it, you know? But otherwise, I'm just going to choose something I have low of. This will use your sugar. If you need to wait, just wait on that for a while. Don't have your smithy clicked on anything. Oh, and yeah, I just want to clarify, you can check these little boxes on and off, just in case anyone didn't realize. This will check them all on, this will check them all off. I'm building these right now for my guild. So let's go to my guild. We can go donate some of these. We are expanding this space right here. And see, I need 4,000, right? So, I mean, if you're making a lot, you could even, and you have the room, you could even turn it up more, but woo, we just put all those in. All right, back to the kingdom. So that's what that's for. Oops, wrong one. Dashboard. Back to it. Produce all. Might as well get this stuff up here going. Get some more of my sugar. Don't need any more wood. All right, and then oh yes. All right, produce all. Now you're just going to start putting your things in. You're going to start putting in. So this is the order. And like I said, these final ones, you really don't need more than 4 of them. You have like 1 thing or 2 things a day, and then you can just make them. All right, so I will scroll that right there. You can take a screenshot so you can put all those numbers in. All right. Or you can just pause it and go back and forth between your game and the video, I guess. All right. And then there's the rest of that. And then here's the foodstuffs. I think it's funny the way it's separated in the menu. There's your butter, milk, everything. All right, and those are the numbers that I all calculated. Now, laboratory goods, this is all personal preference. This is all up to you. I usually just keep them 0 unless I'm making a specific person, just in case but that was before I clicked everything on and off. That was before I clicked everything, these little check marks, right? I didn't used to check these check marks because I would just do the recently produced. That's how I do it. But no, we want production priority. So now I'm making these for my silver bell. I need more of these guys, and I definitely need more of these with all the new level up to 100s. So yeah, I hope you guys can plug this in and it works great for you. It's worked great for me. It's worked great for me for the last, I don't know, 6+ months, 8 months. Can't math right now. Whenever September to February is. And yeah, I hope you guys have lots of fun with your games. Oh, yes, a few more tips real quick. I was going to say, Kingdom Arena. I don't know how long this has been a thing. Maybe it's always been there and I just didn't notice it. But let's say you're struggling, you're having a hard time figuring out who you want to put on your team. You've got your attackers and your defenders. I keep my defenders kind of low, and I'll show you why. Because, and then also, when you go to do your revenge battles, you can see, oh, sorry, I think that's too far. I left one. Is it this one? That wasn't the one. Darn, did I lose it? I left, oh, this one, here we go. I left this one. If you click on it, they'll have a different team just like you will. And I leave mine down so that way I can get a little bit more. You know, if you're doing really good and you want to have both, you can have both. But I like to have mine low. But let's say you're not sure who's going to be stronger or who's going to be attacking more. Sometimes it's hard to tell, right? So you can come here. You can hit your team presets. We're going to do, not team presets, sorry. Saved teams. So our arena attackers, that's the one I have right now. Let's set. See, look, now the numbers are the same. My defenders and my attackers are the same, right? I will say I just threw Dark Enchantress in. I just threw Dark Enchantress in, replaced Shadow Milk with her, but maybe Shadow Milk would have been better replaced with someone else. So let's take out Silent Salt. Let's put Shadow Milk in. And now we're going to go practice. And we're going to see who wins this battle. Because I just replaced, I only replaced Silent, and they ended up doing better. Or I mean, Shadow Milk. So yeah, definitely still doing better. Dang. Dark Enchantress cookie. So awesome. Yeah, so that's a little bit help with that if you didn't know that. It'll help and see cuz look, the number is higher, but it's you also have to consider that's like just your kind of basic attack. It doesn't include everything else. I always thought the power number was like the end all be all, but it really isn't. So that's how you can help build your strongest team. Let's see, I think that's pretty much it for tips that I have. So I hope you guys enjoy the production guide. I hope it can help any frustrations with, not being able, look at that, send all, boop, so easy, every time. Don't got to worry about it, just boop. Sometimes I will occasionally get low materials. That does happen. It's going to happen a lot in the beginning. You just kind of have to put up with it for a little bit. Sometimes, like I said, check off those. Don't use up your sugar. Use your sugar for other stuff if you need it. Maybe take a little break from building around because, or take a little break from the Tree of Wishes. Take a little break from stuff and just kind of do that for a few days, especially if you're just like vegging out or it's like a season that you don't care too much about, you know what I mean? Because like I'm definitely up here trying to get all my event stuff done. And sometimes when you're doing your event stuff pretty hard, you will use up some of your materials. But if you're just kind of casually playing, but you're doing your stuff every day, this will last. It will stay. This stuff is going to build up by tomorrow, and I could have this completely filled. I could have all my shelves completely filled. I could have everything ready to go. And then if I want to, I just spend a little diamonds, I guess. As I'll spend diamonds on the tough stuff sometimes. Anyways, I hope you guys have a great weekend. And yeah, have fun. Play Cookie Run.